Hi folks, so in this video I'm going to be showing how to create some instances along on points on a line and then how to bunch them up using a float curve with which you can do some pretty funky stuff if you so desire. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are. Let's create a new geometry nodes setup. We're going to delete our cube and then somewhat strangely make a cube. Let's set a material on it. Let's go into rendered view, get rid of our lights, turn our world black, and let's go into top view. Okay. So let's get an instance on points. This is going to be our instance. And we're going to start with a mesh circle. Plug that in here. Going to make our cube smaller and a few less points. Okay, so we can set the number of points here, but I'm actually going to put up an integer to do the same thing. So if I put this to 12 and I plug this in here, there's no difference. This says 12, this says 12. And you'll see why we need this a little bit later. Okay, so we're not actually going to use this mesh circle in any way. We're just using it as a sort of bag of points, basically, just a way to create some points. So we need to set the position of all these points in a different way. So I'm going to do set position, drop that in here. Okay, and we're going to need a curved line. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the line start at, we're going to go on the x-axis. We're going to start at 0, so here, and we're going to go to 10. Okay, so you can't actually see the line, but it's going, if I just grab the ruler, then we know what we're talking about. So this is 10 meters. So there is a line being created, even though we can't see it from here to here. Now we need a sample curve node. I'm going to plug that in here and plug the position in here. Let's try that again. In here. Okay, so just to make it a bit easier to see, I'm going to increase the size of the cube for a little bit. So basically what's happening now is with the mesh circle, it's giving us 10, let's change this to 10. It's giving us 10 points. They're coming in here, and we're setting the position of all of them somewhere along this 10-meter line, and the sample curve dictates where they are. So if I put it up to 10, they're at the max of the line, and I put it down to 0, they're at the beginning of the line. Okay, we actually want to work with factor, and the way the factor works is it actually will then take this amount, 10, and it will it will basically take the number 1 and divide it by 10. So if I put in here 0.1, then it moves it 1 meter. And if I go all the way up to 1, we get the full 10 meters. Okay, so that's kind of useless because now we've got 10 points all being moved to the same position. Okay, what we need to do, we need a way to address each of these points individually. And the way it works is that each point has got an index number. So we're going to pull up the index here. I'm going to pull this one out over here a little bit. I'm going to need a math node. So that one, put this one on divide. Okay, and we're going to plug the index into the top and the number of points into the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to hook. Let's just organize ourselves a little bit better here. And then we're going to hook the value into the factor. If I can do that. Right. Let me just tidy this up visually a little bit. So let's get it a little bit thinner on the X and make them taller. Okay, so what's happening here? Okay, so basically putting up my little text editor here. So it starts at, you'd think it starts at index 1, but it doesn't. It starts at index 0. That's just the way it works in computer programming and data science. Like 1, the first thing is always actually given the number 0. And you'll see why that is in a minute. So it takes the first index, which is 0. It feeds it in here. It divides it by the number 10. And it gives us 0. So basically, it feeds out here the number 0. So if I just unplug this for a moment, put this to 0, that's where the first cube is being placed on 0. Then we move on to the next point, which has got index 1. Again, we divide it by 10. And we get 0.1. So although you can't see it, the value coming out of here for the second point is 0.1. Okay, but of course 0.1 of 10 meters. 10 meters rather here. So 10 meters times 0.1 is 1. So if I unplug it and put this to 0.1, that's where the second cube is being placed. And so on and so forth. So the third point, which is index 2, goes to 0.2. And again, it's 10 meters expressed between 0 and 1. So 0.2 is times 10 becomes 2 meters. So we get this one. Okay. And all the way up to number 9, which is the 10th, index 9, which is the 10th point. And we get 0.9 times 10 is this one here at 0.9 is here on the 9 meter mark. Okay, so the point is this mathematical sort of function doesn't care what number is in here. So if I put in here 60, and we have to just make our cube less wide. Let's turn off overlays. It's the same thing. It works exactly the same way. So then imagine we've got index 45 divided by 60. So not 10 this time, but 60. Just going to grab my calculator. 45 divided by 60 equals 0.75. So if I was to plug in here 0.75, we can see that if we start from here and go to here, 60, 45 would be around here. See, so this is the way this works is it doesn't care how many actual instances you have. It will always place them somewhere correctly on this line together with the sample curve. Okay, so this is all fairly nice, but this is kind of actually where the fun begins. Plug this back in. Because what we can do is I'm going to give myself a little bit more space. Going to get a float curve, plug it in here. Okay, nothing happens until I do this. Okay, so basically what's happening is this is like a transform curve. So what a transform curve does is it takes an input and will change the output depending on the position of the points on an XY curve. So I can't really explain it better than that, but you can see clearly what it does here. It will change it will either bunch up the points to the beginning or the end, or you can also edit it. Yeah, it's kind of clear what it does. And you can see that you can start to get some very interesting visual graphical pattern. Is that 200 graphical patterns? Yeah, so that pretty much covers it. Hope somebody found these useful. Any comments, suggestions, put them in the comments below. And that's it. Have a great day.